What would you do if your own home refused to let your child inside and then told you to give her back? Emily Carter remembers the exact time because she checked it 3 times. 11:47 p.m. Not because she was paranoid. Because nothing about that moment made sense, and her brain was trying to anchor itself to something real. Rain hammered the pavement in uneven bursts, bouncing off the concrete steps leading to her townhouse in Columbus, Ohio. The air smelled like wet asphalt and cold metal. It had been a long shift. 12 hours in the ER. Emily was exhausted in that deep, bone-level way that made everything feel slightly delayed, like reality itself was buffering. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Lily stood in front of the door, her tiny frame barely reaching the smart lock keypad. She held her key carefully. The pink plastic cover was scuffed from daily use, decorated with a faded cartoon unicorn sticker she had picked out herself. It was her grown-up key, she liked to call it. Emily watched her insert it. Beep. A red light flashed. Denied. Lily frowned, confused but calm. She pulled the key out and tried again. Beep. Red again. That was strange. Lily used that key every single day. After school. After visits to her Aunt Rachel's house. After walks to the mailbox. It had never failed before. Not once. Try again, Emily said gently, climbing the steps behind her. Lily nodded and did exactly that. Beep. Red. This time Lily didn't immediately try again. She slowly looked up instead. Not at Emily. At the Ring camera mounted just above the door. The small black lens stared back, reflecting a warped image of the porch and the falling rain. And then Lily said something that made Emily's stomach tighten instantly. Mom? She wasn't talking to Emily. She was talking to the camera. Emily opened her mouth to ask why, but before she could, the speaker crackled. Static. A brief, hollow burst of sound. Then a voice came through. Calm. Flat. Emotionless. Return the child. Emily froze. Her brain rejected the words immediately. It didn't sound human. It didn't sound angry. It didn't sound threatening. It sounded procedural. Like a decision had already been made. Emily grabbed Lily's shoulder and pulled her back instinctively. Her heart was pounding now, adrenaline replacing exhaustion in an instant. What did you just hear? Emily whispered. Lily didn't answer right away. She just stared at the door. I think, Lily said quietly, it wasn't talking to you. Emily's skin prickled. Because suddenly, the question wasn't why the system rejected the key. The question was why it knew her daughter existed at all. Emily stepped forward, her hands shaking slightly, and inserted her own key. Beep. Green light. The lock clicked open instantly. No hesitation. No warning. The system recognized her. But not Lily. And as Emily slowly pushed the door open, a cold realization settled over her. Something inside had already decided Lily didn't belong there anymore. And then, from somewhere deep inside the dark house, she heard her name. The voice inside the house wasn't loud. It didn't shout. It didn't echo. It simply said her name the way someone would if they already knew she was there. Emily. She froze in the doorway. The living room was dark except for the faint green glow of the Wi-Fi router on the far wall. The air inside smelled the same as always. Fabric softener. Clean carpet. Familiar. Safe. Except it didn't feel safe anymore. She didn't step inside. She couldn't. Instead, she slowly pulled the door shut again and backed away, her hand gripping Lily's shoulder tighter than she realized. Her phone was already in her hand before she consciously decided to use it. She scrolled to one name. Daniel Reeves. Her landlord. He answered faster than expected. Second ring. But he didn't say hello. He said, "Is Lily with you right now?" Emily's mouth went dry. She hadn't mentioned Lily. Not in a text. Not in a voicemail. Not even to anyone else that night. Yes, Emily said slowly. She's right here. There was a pause on the other end. Not confusion. Not surprise. Something else. Relief. And fear. Did she try to use her key? Daniel asked. Emily's stomach tightened. Yes, she said. It didn't work. Another pause. Longer this time. That shouldn't be possible, he said quietly. Emily stepped farther away from the door, rain soaking into her shoes now. She didn't care. What did you do? She asked. Nothing, he said quickly. Too quickly. I ran a routine system update earlier today. Security patch. Standard maintenance. Maintenance. Routine. Normal words that suddenly felt dangerous. Then he asked something that made even less sense. Has Lily been away from the house recently? Emily frowned. Yes. She stayed with my sister Rachel for a few days 2 weeks ago while I was on overnight shifts. Why? Daniel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he said, I'm coming over. He hung up before she could ask anything else. Emily lowered the phone slowly. The rain kept falling. Lily stood quietly beside her, staring at the door. Not scared. Not crying. Watching. Waiting. Emily knelt down in front of her. Sweetheart, she said gently. When the voice talked, what did it sound like? Lily tilted her head slightly, thinking. Then she said something Emily would never forget. It sounded like the house. Not a man. Not a woman. Not a stranger. The house. Emily felt something cold settle deep in her chest. 20 minutes later, Daniel's car pulled into the driveway. He stepped out holding a tablet, his face tense, jaw tight. He didn't greet them. He went straight to the door. Straight to the lock. Straight to the system. He tapped rapidly, scrolling through access logs. Emily watched his face carefully. Confusion. Concern. And then something worse. Recognition. He stopped scrolling. His finger froze on the screen. This doesn't make sense, he whispered. Emily stepped closer. What doesn't? He turned the tablet toward her. 2 entries stared back. Both labeled, Lily Carter. One marked active. The other marked removed. Timestamp. Earlier that night, Emily looked up at him. If Lily's access was removed, she said slowly, who removed it? Daniel swallowed. I didn't. And that's when Emily realized something terrifying. If he didn't remove her daughter from the system, something else did. Emily waited for Daniel to say it was a glitch. A bug. A temporary error. Something explainable. Instead, he said something far worse. I didn't remove her, he repeated quietly. And the system says it wasn't done manually. Emily stared at him, rain dripping from her hair onto her jacket. What does that mean? Daniel hesitated, like he was choosing words carefully. Smart lock systems like this log everything. Every key added. Every key removed. Every admin change. And each action is tied to a specific user profile. He turned the tablet slightly, showing her the screen. But this removal, he swallowed. It doesn't have a user attached. Emily blinked. No user. He shook his head slowly. It just says authorization revoked. The words felt clinical. Cold. Final. When? Emily asked. Daniel tapped the screen once. 10:52 p.m. Emily's heart skipped. Less than an hour ago. They hadn't even left Rachel's house yet at that time. Which meant whatever removed Lily's access did it while they were gone. Without anyone physically present. Without anyone touching the lock. That's not possible, Emily whispered. Daniel didn't answer. Because they both knew modern systems didn't make decisions without instructions. Something had instructed it. Behind them, a porch light flicked on next door. Mrs. Harriet Klein stepped out slowly, her gray robe pulled tightly around her thin frame. She squinted through the rain toward them. Everything all right? She called gently. Emily forced a nod. Just a lock issue. Mrs. Klein didn't look convinced. She stepped closer, stopping near the edge of the shared walkway. I saw someone earlier, she said. Emily's stomach tightened. When? Mrs. Klein thought for a moment. Maybe an hour ago. Around 10:30. Emily exchanged a look with Daniel. Doing what? Emily asked. Mrs. Klein shrugged slightly. Standing here. Near your door. Emily's throat went dry. Did they try to get in? No, Mrs. Klein said slowly. They just stood there. Still. Looking at the door. A chill ran through Emily's entire body. Did you recognize them? Mrs. Klein hesitated. then said something that made even less sense. They looked like they belonged here. Emily frowned. Belonged here? What did that even mean? Daniel was already opening the Ring app on his tablet. Let's check the footage, he said. He pulled up the timeline. Scrolled back. 10:30 p.m. Nothing. Empty porch. Rain. No person. No visitor. No movement. Emily leaned closer. Go forward. He did. 10:43 p.m. Still nothing. Then, the screen skipped. Jumped. 10:52 p.m. 9 minutes missing. Daniel froze. That's not normal, he said quietly. Emily's pulse quickened. What do you mean? He looked at her. This system doesn't skip recordings unless something interrupts it. Emily's voice dropped. Like what? Daniel didn't answer immediately. Because they both already understood. Only someone with administrator-level access could delete footage. And there were only 2 administrators. Daniel and Emily. Neither of them had touched the system. Emily suddenly remembered something. Something Lily had said days ago. A sentence Emily had dismissed at the time. She slowly turned to her daughter. Lily, she said gently, kneeling in front of her. Earlier this week, you said something about another mommy. Lily nodded calmly. Emily felt her chest tighten. Who did you mean? Lily didn't hesitate. She simply pointed at the door. And said, very quietly, the house told me. Emily felt the world tilt slightly. Not physically. Psychologically. The house told you? She repeated carefully. Lily nodded like it was the most normal thing in the world. Emily looked up at Daniel, hoping he would dismiss it. Explain it. Laugh it off. He didn't. Instead, he stared at the tablet, his face pale. There's something I didn't think mattered, he said slowly. Emily's heart began to pound again. What? He hesitated. Then said, you weren't the first tenant here. Emily frowned. Obviously, she said. It's a rental. But Daniel wasn't speaking casually. He was scrolling rapidly now, opening archived records buried deep inside the system. The previous tenant, he continued, left suddenly. No notice. No explanation. Just terminated the lease and disappeared. Emily crossed her arms instinctively. So, Daniel stopped scrolling. Turned the screen toward her. Previous user profiles. She read the name. Sarah Whitaker. Registered resident. Then beneath it. Secondary user. Child access. Name, L. Emily blinked. L, she asked. Daniel nodded slowly. Her daughter. Emily felt her stomach tighten. How old? Daniel checked the archived profile. 6. The same age as Lily. Daniel scrolled further, pulling up inactive devices. Old key registrations. Expired access credentials. Then suddenly, he froze. His finger hovered over a single entry. Status, reactivated. Timestamp, 10:52 p.m. Emily's breath caught. That's when Lily's access was removed, she whispered. Daniel nodded grimly. The system didn't just remove Lily, he said. He tapped the entry. It reactivated another child. Emily's brain struggled to process that. That's impossible. Daniel turned the tablet toward her fully now. The access identifier code was visible. Each key had a unique digital fingerprint. Lily's identifier, LC4421. The other child's identifier, L4419. Nearly identical. Separated by just 2 digits. Emily felt her skin crawl. What does that mean? Daniel answered carefully. It means the system detected 2 children with nearly identical authorization levels and conflicting identity priority. Emily swallowed. And? Daniel exhaled slowly. Smart home security systems are designed to resolve conflicts automatically, especially when administrator hierarchy overlaps. Emily's voice was barely audible. How do they resolve it? Daniel hesitated, then said the words she would never forget. They remove the one that shouldn't be there. Emily's chest tightened painfully. That's why it said return the child, she whispered. Not a warning. Not a threat. An instruction. Daniel scrolled further down. There's more. He pointed to another log entry. Motion detected. Interior sensor. Timestamp, 11:46 p.m. 1 minute before they arrived. Emily's heart began racing uncontrollably. "That means," she whispered. Daniel didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to, because if motion was detected inside the house, then the system wasn't reacting to Lily arriving. It was reacting to someone already there. Suddenly, click, the deadbolt turned. On its own. Emily and Daniel both stared at the door. Neither of them had touched it. Neither of them had issued a command. The system had just unlocked itself. From the inside, Emily stopped breathing. Not literally, but it felt like her body had forgotten how. The deadbolt had turned. On its own. No hand. No key. No command. Just a quiet mechanical click, followed by the slow release of the lock. The door creaked open slightly, pushed by nothing but the pressure difference between inside and outside. The dark interior of the house waited, silent and unchanged. No movement. No sound. Lily squeezed Emily's hand tighter. "Mama," she whispered. Emily didn't respond. She couldn't. Her brain was locked between two equally terrifying possibilities. Someone was inside, or something had been. Daniel stepped forward cautiously, his voice barely audible. "Stay behind me." He pushed the door open wider. The living room was exactly as Emily had left it that morning. Couch, coffee table, lamp, shoes near the wall. Nothing disturbed. Nothing stolen. Nothing moved. Daniel stepped inside first, scanning carefully. Emily followed, holding Lily protectively behind her. Every step felt wrong, like they were entering someone else's space. Daniel checked the kitchen. Empty. Hallway. Empty. Bedroom. Empty. Closet. Empty. No intruder. No stranger. No explanation. But when Daniel returned to the tablet, his face changed again. "There's one final entry," he said quietly. Emily forced herself to look. Conflict resolution complete. Authorized child, active. Duplicate authorization, permanently revoked. Timestamp, 11:47 p.m. The exact moment Lily stood at the door. The exact moment the voice spoke. The exact moment the system chose. Emily slowly looked down at Lily. "Try your key," Daniel said gently. Lily hesitated, then stepped forward. She inserted the unicorn-covered key into the lock. Beep. Green light. Access granted. Just like that. As if nothing had ever been wrong. As if the system had corrected itself. As if Lily had passed some invisible test. Daniel replaced the entire lock system 3 days later. New hardware. New firmware. New access codes. Factory reset. He insisted it was necessary. Emily agreed. But something never sat right. Because systems don't make emotional decisions. They make logical ones. Cold ones. Precise ones. They follow rules. Which meant, at some level, the house had believed Lily didn't belong there anymore. Months later, on a quiet afternoon, Emily asked Lily one last question. "Do you remember what the voice said that night?" Lily nodded. Emily waited. Lily looked toward the front door. Then said something she had never mentioned before. "It said I wasn't the first." Emily felt the air leave her lungs. Because suddenly, the system's message made a different kind of sense. Not a warning. Not a malfunction. A correction. And even now, every night when Emily locks the door, she can't help but wonder. Not whether the system will fail, but whether, somewhere deep in its memory, it still remembers the other child.